Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. We got Joe Rogan finally giving his thoughts on Andrew Tate. It has been a long time coming. He's been very quiet about Andrew Tate, but now it seems like from this clip, he has actually taken in what the case has been about, the reason that Andrew Tate was locked up and put on house arrest, and he's also looked into his content. So he's going to be giving his thoughts on Andrew Tate and the women that worked with him. And then I got a clip of Jordan Peterson also giving his thoughts on Andrew Tate. And then I'm going to speak about a glaring fact that a lot of people ignore when it comes to Andrew Tate. And I'm going to be connecting that to Laurel Canyon and the intelligence operation that they had going on with rock and roll and hip hop. So let's get into this. We still got IamCoachColin.com up and running. We still got certified pure blood shirts. We still got Public Enemy #1 shirts. And we still have all the way at the top Sold Not For Sale shirts as well. And we have what I'm wearing right now. Keep calm and do not comply. Discount code is I am Coach Colin, all capital letters, all one word, one L in the name Colin. Let's get to Rogan.
I think it would take long. I think if you waited a long time, like if you're dating 6 to 8 months, like how do you have all these shoes? Yeah. Like where'd you get this car? Like, like what do you do for work? Yeah. If it was one of those things, you know, and then you have an OnlyFans, and then you were already in love with this woman, that'd be an issue, I guess. Or maybe you just like shift gears and go, okay, I guess this is what I accept. I mean, it's possible, it's feasible for a woman to have a completely disconnected approach to what her OnlyFans is and think about only as this is just a business thing. I'm just making, I don't want to work at Wendy's. Yeah. And so I'm doing this and I'm making extraordinary amounts of money and I'm going to invest this money in real estate and smart. You could look at it that way.
What would be the threshold of acceptable behavior on OnlyFans, though? Because it's like, it ranges from like...
bananas.
Just, I understand, is a lot of fitness industry girls, too, they're already almost nude on Instagram, essentially.
Right.
And they will just post different iterations of, you know, the same poses or whatever in the same kind of clothes, but behind a paywall. And I guess some of the money they make is from talking to the dudes or the guys thinking they're talking to them, which is often like
That's what Andrew Tate did, right? That was Andrew Tate's whole thing. It's like having people pretend.
Yeah, he gets a lot of heat because I don't know if this is actually what he did, but what people are saying is he would type on behalf of the girls, which is like, I don't know. Some people say it's kind of gay, so because it's like you're talking to a dude about, you know, what you'd want to do with him and this and that, and speaking on behalf of the girl as if you are her, which presumably a lot of girls outsource to whoever they can get to do it or have, I don't know, some cookie cutter scripts or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's kind of a weird...
But if you were doing that, you would know exactly what to say to the guys because you know exactly what the guys want to hear. Because if you're just running a scam, I mean, it's not really gay unless you're getting a thinking about these guys. Words, which is a very gray area.
yeah. So it's a weird situation for sure.
It's definitely weird. Well, that's also the criticism that Andrew Tate has gotten about exploitation. So supposedly he would get these girls to fall in love with him, and then he would get them to go and do this stuff for him.
Yeah, it's wild how much content he has that exists from back then that he's so articulate and well-spoken.
Yeah.
But when he speaks about it, but then some of those videos are so vulgar and whatnot that it's hard to. I can imagine the people who are, you know, very hard on him. You watch the old videos, it's pretty hard to side with him when you see those.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also, you got to think of what a person like that is trying to do when they're first getting attention. You're trying to be as outrageous as possible to get as much people to think about what you're saying and talk about what you're saying and engage with it.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that is to be like a character, an over-the-top, completely arrogant guy who's shirtless with sunglasses on, smoking a cigar, talking about hoes.
Yeah.
You know, and pimping hoes. It's like, is it a character or is it really you? And then when you find out, oh, well, no, he actually does run these cam sites and he does have these girls working for him. Okay. But then some of the girls talk and go, actually, he's like really nice and he was kind and he gave me this business opportunity. I wound up making a lot of money with it. And you're like, oh, okay. This is complicated. Like, how much of this is theater and how much of this is like, if it's your real feelings that, you know, these women are subhuman little robot flesh creatures that you just extract money from.
Yeah. Any interactions I've had with the guy before he was, you know, super famous and whatnot, I've always been positive too. Like, super nice guy.
Very intelligent guy.
Yeah, super
extraordinarily
articulate.
Extraordinarily intelligent.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You know,
his brother too.
Yeah,
doesn't get as much credit, but
you know, they're very, very smart guys. But boy, did they tap into. There's this thing that's going on where men do not feel like there's anyone that represents men in popular culture. Like what men actually talk about when they're alone, when men aren't just hanging out with men and not trying to impress women or trying to not get yelled at, the wild shit they talk about. And, you know, if you can be the most exaggerated form of that, this world champion kickboxer standing there smoking a cigar, making fun of simps, and, you know, that's very appealing to men because it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like, if you're never going to see that on CNN or NBC, or it's not, no mainstream media platform is ever going to tap into this, what is obviously a lucrative market. Young guys who don't want to be like their parents, they don't want to be like their teachers, they don't want to be like any of these people they see around them that seem neutered and pot-bellied and fucking depressing and talking about equity and inclusiveness, and they're like, Jesus fucking Christ. And then they see this guy and like, oh,
yeah,
I like that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's definitely inspired discipline and taking action, and it's like
take responsibility for yourself.
Yeah. So,
I mean, it's like a more problematic version of like what Jocko does or did, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's also different, you know, because it's like, you know, he really is in the pimp and hose business. I mean, it's like if you're running campsites like that, you're really, you know, farming those girls out to make shitloads of money for you, for a bunch of suckers.
I can't even imagine what the life of an OnlyFans manager or something would be.
There's got to be a lot of them.
Oh, for sure.
I would assume. I know that there's a lot of people that they hire that manage the girls' DMs. So there's like companies, I guess. Is this the case? I've just been told this.
There's got to be agencies that are, you know, turnkey. We take care of it.
We'll take care of it.
I really got offered to be a recruiter for one of those.
Oh,
They wanted to use my verified account. I was like, what is going?
Side hustle.
I mean, that's sneaky, but what?
So what did they want you to do?
DM chicks to offer them, like, you can be on OnlyFans. I was like,
oh
they
God,
don't, like,
Jamie, do you know how bad that would turn out?
like they don't fucking know that already. Like, why would I have to tell them? But if I could convince them to do it, the return is I get a kickback of their revenue. I just remembered that as you guys are talking about it.
So when they contacted you, what did they say? Like, hey, Jamie, do you know a lot of girls that are willing to take their clothes off?
We've noticed it's one of these DMs I get from multiple accounts for various reasons, but like, we've noticed your account. You know, I have X amount of followers. You know, you could probably be doing this kind of stuff on Instagram. If you do, you know.
And how much would they give you?
I don't off the top of my head, I don't remember. I could check. I feel like it was 10, 20%, something like that.
That's lucrative.
Yeah.
If you can get a bunch of really fucking...
I've heard these guys are making 50%. The managers do. Like, they just split it.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. That seems crazy.
Well, they're not doing anything, though. The girls don't do anything besides make the content, and then the managers are running the account. They're not even just doing
Still,
messages.
50% seems pretty high, because without the girl, you don't have anything.
I think a lot of naivety around business operations, though, would definitely drive girls to think, I don't want to deal with, you know, accounting. I don't want to deal with this, and I don't even know how. So, yeah, by all means, take 50. That's
especially if someone can come to you with a pitch that says, look, you can do this and you can make $3,000 a month, or you can do this with us and you can make $150,000 a month.
Yeah.
So, you'll get 50%, we'll get 50%, but it's a much higher number that you're going to be dealing with. Yeah. And you're not going to get there on your own. And we have this vast network, and we can also introduce you through other girls. Like, other girls, like, this is my friend Cindy. Like, you'll see them do that on their Instagram page. Follow her. And then, you know, they're just like pumping each other up like comics would do. Like, hey, go see Mike. He's playing at the Ha-Ha. Really funny guy. You know, Cindy's got a great her out.
I wonder who the Joe Rogan of OnlyFans chicks is.
There's got to be one.
Yeah, there's got to be like a ringleader of all.
What's her?
Puts them all on, put
Iggy
platforms.
Azalea 48 million last year, I think is what I read.
It is Iggy Azalea. That's who they go on to speak about. I cannot show pictures that they are going to show. Check out the podcast, though. More plates, more dates. Now, again, Iggy Azalea. You can just Google that name. You'll know her when you see her for sure. But we're going to get into the Jordan Peterson clip right now, because he also has thoughts on Andrew Tate as well. So let's pull up what Jordan Peterson had to say about him. And then I'm going to get into the conspiracy that has been handcrafted by me, and I think makes perfect sense. Watch till the end. You'll hear about that. Let's go into Jordan Peterson.
Opinions on Andrew Tate and the masculine movement happening in young men across the globe.
Well, I really haven't said anything about Andrew Tate, and I probably won't tonight. But well, I'll make a few comments about the Andrew Tate phenomenon. You know, I would say is that the mystery is, there is a mystery in relationship to Andrew Tate, and the mystery is, why is he so popular? And I think part of the reason he's so popular is because he doesn't easily bend a knee, so to speak, and it isn't obvious to me that he doesn't bend a knee because of his stellar moral character, but because I'm not particularly, what would you say, impressed by what he's done on the sex business front. It seems to me a bit on the pimpy side, let's say. And I'm not a great admirer of pimps. So, even if they're the electronic version. And so, but I don't know that much about the details of his life. And apart from that, rather casual diagnosis, I'm going to leave it alone. But there is a mystery there, and the mystery is, why has he captured the public imagination? And it's clear that he's become a voice, maybe like a kind of a violent rapper, same sort of attraction to young men. And that attraction is the attraction of what's the alternative to a kind of cringing defeat. And so maybe a forthright aggression is a preferable alternative to a cringing defeat. And I have some sympathy for that viewpoint, So, and I think Tate at least stands for that. And apart from that, I don't know enough about him or what he's done or what he stands for to comment.
So that's Jordan Peterson, how he feels about Andrew Tate. But, I think as much as he says he doesn't want to comment on anything, for him to call him pimpy, I think says enough, even though he's like, I don't want to get too much into it. But it's very, very interesting. Now, here's the thing about Andrew Tate. When I bring up Jim Morrison and his dad being a part of the intelligence agencies, CIA, when we bring up, I've heard people in the comments, Joe Rogan and, Mike Baker comes on because that's his CIA handler. We hear all these things. Laurel Canyon, all the rock stars from the mid-60s, 70s, they all have these connections to the CIA, the FBI, intelligence agencies. And then also people in hip hop, same type of thing. It's been an arm that's been used. They go into the media. What makes us think that they wouldn't, if they did that with rock and roll, they did that with hip hop, why wouldn't they do it with social media? Why wouldn't they just have a guy who could be all influencing of people, rile them up, possibly radicalize them? You got Andrew Tate. His dad is in the CIA. His dad's passed away. Rest in peace to the man. His name was also, I believe his name was Emery Andrew Tate the first. Rest in peace to him. But he was in the CIA. Why is it that when I bring up Jim Morrison, people are like, oh, you hear about his dad? Same thing with Andrew Tate. His dad was involved the same way for even longer than Jim Morrison's dad. Obviously, it's not the same time scale or anything. In the CIA for decades, nonetheless. Running around doing missions, everything like that. So what are we talking about here? So how can we look at Jim Morrison and not see him, a talented man, but we don't look at that as on the up and up when we think about the whole Laurel Canyon thing and how they used rock and roll to influence the anti-war movement to make those people who were clean cut like Jordan Peterson become long-haired, dirty hippies. Isn't Andrew Tate doing the same thing? Men who might have just been upstanding men who were like, I want to stand up to all of this feminization. I think we need to do away with all this. Instead of them just being, well-articulated men like Jordan Peterson, instead they are saying things like Andrew Tate would say. The most vile and wild things that Andrew Tate would say, that's the things that people want to repeat. The things about hard work and you should do the right thing, people don't repeat that as much. It's the most salacious thing. That's what's seen the most. That's what's retweeted the most. That's what's reposted the most. So that's what people gravitate towards. So now a movement of people who could have just been regular guys saying, I want to push against all of this wildness that I've been seeing. Now they're branded the same way Andrew Tate would be branded. Now, if you're someone who wants to stand up against that type of thing going on that we're seeing in the media and in the schools and in the news, now if you want to stand up against that type of thing, you're immediately branded as someone who's like Andrew Tate. You immediately get that masculine thing as soon as you align yourself with him. I don't know. It just seems very planned the way that he came along. Your dad's in the CIA. You've been working in the media for a long time. Just so everybody just doesn't get it twisted. He was in, what was it, Big Brother? I think he was in a version of Big Brother. He was in reality TV for years before he became the Andrew Tate that all of us know. So he's been at this for a while. He didn't just pop up out of nowhere. He's been working and crafting a character, and now all of a sudden it's just like, boom, he becomes the most Googled man on the planet. I don't know, man. You see, and then on top of that, your dad's in the CIA. You're named directly after your dad. Everything you're doing is on the world stage for everybody to see. I don't know. I don't get how people can't see through that type of thing. To me, if you're going to call Joe Rogan controlled opposition and not Andrew Tate, that just doesn't make any sense to me. At least Rogan, like the people that he knows that are in the intelligence agencies, it's people he's met over time, you know? At least it all makes sense. This guy's just, my dad's in the CIA and I've become mega famous for doing nothing. Okay, I guess. I don't know. I don't get it. And I will say, beyond all of that, I think it's very interesting that in this time, because think about this. You have Andrew Tate, who is, no shirt, jacked, great shape, great looking guy, glasses on, cigar, tattooed, kind of like me, like I'm going to smoke a cigar after this, but not because of him, because of, because of different influences. But he's this guy, he's screaming about Bugattis, he's screaming about all the stuff he has, all the cars, he has 30 supercars, all of these different things, Bugattis, he's telling people they're broke, he's constantly flaunting all of this stuff. So that you have that spectrum of masculinity to look at. And then on the other side of masculinity, you got, oh, the computer froze, here you go. You got this. You got Harry Styles in a dress. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird the options that they give us. It's very interesting, the options that's more of him in a dress. Good Lord. But it's so odd, the options that they give us. It's either that you are going to be this man who's screaming about Bugattis and flossing, or you're going to be African American and you're going to aspire to be these weird guys who are hyper violent and always doing crime, bragging about crime. It's just what they give us in terms of masculinity, what they give us to aspire to is so crazy. It's either you're going to paint your nails and you're going to wear a dress, or you're going to be a hyper violent rapper type, or you're going to be like Andrew Tate screaming about Bugattis, cigar in hand, screaming about women and how horrible they are and how they need to be quiet and go make me 2 coffees. It seems so planned. I don't know how we could look at Harry Styles in a dress and all the feminization that's going on. How we could look at all of that and be like, this is planned. But we can't look at this hyper masculine. Yeah, I don't want to say toxic masculine. You look at this hyper masculine type, and we don't look at that like it could be planned as well. I think it's just as planned. That's just me. Because in reality, what do we really need to see as men? And don't even get me started on women. I'm going to start on women in a second. But what do we really need to see as men? We need to see fathers. We need to see fathers who take care of their kids. Who build sheds. I say that because my father-in-law builds a shed. He's a great dad. Has his faults, but absolutely amazing example of a guy. Even my brother-in-law, great guy, can fix anything, constantly just working, entrepreneur, young guy. Why is there no light shined on guys like that? Guys who just want to be dads and take care of their kids and operate with integrity and do right by their wives and, don't participate in infidelity at all. Why can't we get that example of just a regular guy? We get none of that. We get these hyper cartoon characters. That's all we ever get. It seems so planned to me. So planned. It's very odd. Now, if we go on to, and just to say, as I'm saying that, real men have no representation. The best thing I've seen of like male representation was recently by Theo Von. He interviewed a garbage man. You can go to his podcast. Just write in Theo Vaughn, maintenance worker or garbage man. The guy's just a garbage man. He's just telling him about his day, of how he takes out the trash and the things that he's seen and the experiences that he's had. Why aren't there more interviews like that? Why aren't there more movies about things like that? Well, I could tell you why. It's because they're boring. If Netflix and every major movie company and TV show company decided to get together and said, that's what we're going to push. We have too many fatherless children. We have too many wild examples of men on either side of the spectrum. And we just need some guys who are in the middle, who are just regular guys. We need it. We need it now. Make a reality show, make a movie, but it's boring. It's boring to everybody, but it's the best thing in the world. I've never had a better experience than being a good husband. There's nothing better than when my wife tells me she feels taken care of and she feels spoiled. There's nothing better. There's going to be nothing better when my kids are taken care of. There's nothing better. But for some reason, we never get shown that. I'm a part of a Christian men's group, and I have this guy Dre. I haven't been in there for a while, and I apologize, guys, but I'm busy. I'm doing this all the time. But there's this guy, Dre. Guy has 5 kids, right? And anytime he's on a call with us, he's either holding a baby, or there's a toddler, or there's an older kid, and it's help with homework, making food, and it's like, that's what I want to see. I want to see that. I've been trying to get this guy to make a vlog for so long because he's just a regular guy. Wakes up 5 a.m., gets to the gym at like 5 a.m., 5:15, works out. He's in great shape, works 2 jobs if he has to, and takes care of 5 kids. And it's the best time of his life. He loves it. Why don't I get to see that? Why don't forget me, I'm almost 40. Why don't younger guys get to see that? Why doesn't a 10-year-old get to see that? Why doesn't a 15-year-old get to see that? Why are they being pushed Tate? It doesn't make any sense. And it's not to focus on Tate like Tate's the bad guy. It's like Jocko's hard to aspire to too. So is Goggins. So is Jordan Peterson. They're all millionaires. They're all millionaires. I don't know. It's very interesting to me. And now if we get on the topic of what Tate actually did and if he actually had those women working these jobs, very hard to look up to somebody like that. I always take people's content in so I can see all sides of them. So I'll watch interview after interview, and I've watched 5-hour interviews with Tate. I've watched 3-hour interviews. I've watched at least 36 hours of Andrew Tate. And I got a pretty good read that, there are some things that are very good about him. But also, if he did do that, even if it was all consensual, even if it's not the horror story that the media is trying to portray, those were people's daughters. I got friends that have daughters. I have sisters. My wife is someone's daughter. She has a sister. I just think, I don't know, man. I get you can take the attitude that someone else will do it anyway, but I think that's a cop-out. If you weren't there, and speaking of Tate, if he wasn't there to do that with those women, maybe they would have done something else. Maybe better, maybe worse, maybe more fulfilling. Maybe. I don't know. But the more options we give for young women to engage in that type of activity, and the more we show young men how lucrative getting women to engage in that activity can be, the worse off we are as a society. I don't know, man. It's just very, very interesting. And then when I'm talking about all that and what we're being exposed to, I'm going to think this guy's not controlled opposition. The guy doesn't have kids. Then he has 1 kid. Now recently he came out and said he has children. First he says he has $50 million. Then he says he has $250 million. Then when he's with Patrick Bet-David, he says he's a billionaire. Then he says he's in jail. Okay, I can believe that. Then he does a live stream of him and his brother sitting in jail, and they have 3 camera angles set up. Buddy, if I'm not falling for MSNBC, I'm not falling for that. You're not telling me you're in jail and there's cameras set up with posters of you in the background. No, we're not doing this. It's ridiculous, man. And then your dad's in the CIA. I know it's like the 10th time I've said it, but come on. This is getting ridiculous now. I'm not that passionate about the subject, I gotta be honest. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this whole thing. I think I got a pretty good argument when I think of Laurel Canyon. You bring up Laurel Canyon and everything it had to do, how it was trying to influence the masses, the fact that it spread into hip hop. You think it's not going to spread into social media? You think it's not going to spread into independent media? You think it's not going to do that? People think this guy is controlled opposition. You think it's not going to spread to a guy like Tate? I think at the heart of it, if I want to go like, full conspiracy corset that I'm wearing underneath my clothes so I can look thinner. If I go full tinfoil here, Iron Man suit, just tinfoil, I think they have a little bit of something for everybody to get hooked on, to get influenced by, to get pushed by into the wrong directions. I think they have a little bit of something for everybody. But you let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am. I'll be in the comments for about an hour, just chilling, and, days to come. If you're a watcher of the channel, I might respond like 3 weeks later, a week later, a day later, an hour later, 4 minutes later. I'm on there. Anyways, other than that, I'm out.